Hello everyone. When Anmol called me to talk on this particular topic, I was a bit skeptical initially to agree because this is more of a philosophical topic and I was wondering whether I could really do justice to this topic. Yet here I am sharing my views on this topic. I do hope you find it useful. Plastic surgery as a specialty itself is going through turbulent times and there are lots and lots of challenges we face as plastic surgeons. And understandably, the younger ones bear the brunt more. Each one of us is created after a minimum of 13 years of hard work and dedication. And when we come out of the safe havens of our department, we realize that there is so much of encroachment by other specialties. There are no job opportunities. Lack of academic positions is very rampant. During residency, many residents don't even file for IT returns. And so getting a loan when you pass out is also a very tough job. Many of us don't have financial resources to start our clinics or hospitals or nursing homes. So eventually we have to knock on doors, market ourselves, keep on meeting referring doctors, and so on and so forth. So many of these problems are essentially beyond our individual control, but at least some of the challenges we face when we pass out can be addressed by us. We are essentially a problem solving specialty, and more often than not, we tend to find the appropriate solutions to our challenges in personal and professional lives. So, we will talk on addressing the issues which are within our control. We will also discuss a rather more scientific way of dealing with challenges and taking important decisions in our professional lives. So, as you all know, plastic surgery is so vast that from wherever institute across India you have cleared your MCH or DNB exams, your training is going to be inadequate. There is not a single institute which can cover the entire spectrum of the plastic and reconstructive as well as the aesthetic surgery work that we do and we cater to. It has been my observation that almost 70% of the work you do after clearing MCH is done for the first time. So essentially, yes, we have to shamelessly agree that we are trained inadequately. So the next question arises, do I need additional training? Do I need additional fellowships? So I think that again depends on individual to individual what his or her future goals are. So that decision is very subjective. If an individual want to do focused practice of maybe aesthetic surgery or onco reconstruction microsurgery, then probably a fellowship is going to add value to the training. But if someone is going to start practice in tier 2 or tier 3 cities as a freelancing plastic surgeon, going multiple places, operating there, then I personally think that we don't need additional training. Because wherever we go, whatever we do, whatever amount of training we take, essentially the patient which is going to come to you, there would be many that you will be doing them for the first time. As it is, our specialty is based on principles, and if you are sound in your principles, you can never do wrong. Again, my personal opinion, take the plunge, don't go for additional trainings. If you have a problem, watch online videos, talk to your seniors, talk to your colleagues, talk to your boss, develop a team. If you have not been able to do that case or you have not seen a similar case, call a senior who has been doing that and do the case. So developing a team or having a group practice is probably one of the most efficient way to face all the problems and challenges in your professional life. So in group practice, you have more efficient use of resources. There is a wide spectrum of expertise available with many people in the group. No calls are missed and obviously the responsibility is shared. And ask is a very important word. If you don't know what to do, ask. If you are faced up with a problem which is beyond your abilities, which you feel is beyond your abilities, ask. If you are confused what to do, ask. So our plastic surgery community is a very close-knit community, and you should always feel free to ask any of your colleagues, seniors, and even plastic surgeons whom you don't know. You get to know about their experiences, what they would do in this particular case. Eventually, your outcomes improve, and the patient is benefited the most. It is often underrated, but having a good mentor is one of the most important things in our profession. It resembles more of professional parenting rather than a boss-employee or a boss-resident relationship. We stand on the shoulders of these giants, and they are always there to help us in whatever way they can. Not just during your MCH training, but even after that. Mentors are there to help you, guide you, train you, and help you achieve your goals. So find the right mentor and don't part with your mentor. So when we pass out, when we clear our MCH or DNB exams, we are definitely not market ready. We lack soft skills. During residency, because of excessive work, many residents behave or talk in a bit arrogant manner with the patients. But once you enter the private practice, it is a different ball game. It has been shown time and again that your soft skills, especially your communication skills, are much more important than your technical skills for your professional success. So we should start working on our soft skills throughout our residencies so that there is a smooth transition when we enter the market. It can't be stressed enough that soft skills are the personal attributes which are needed for the success of any job, and it is our responsibility to develop these soft skills. SWOT analysis is a very important concept, and I tend to use it very often. It is a method for identifying and analyzing our internal strengths and weaknesses, and also analyze the external opportunities and threats so that it can help us develop our strategic goals. It can help us take a decision. So SWOT analysis is essentially about analyzing your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities you might have, and the threats which might be there for those opportunities. The SWOT analysis helps you in facing the challenges, especially the professional challenges, in a more calculated and effective manner. So let us assume that this is a general SWOT analysis for a XYZ resident who has just passed out and looking for opportunities in professional life. So this particular individual is academically oriented, interested in research. So academic practice might be a interesting option for the individual. But at the same time, he or she is not willing to leave hometown, and there are not many medical colleges with plastic surgery teaching options in many places. So if you want a faculty position, you might need to change your hometown. So investing in a clinic with no significant financial backup and loan repayment during COVID times is also going to be tough for this particular individual. So essentially, SWOT is not a sure shot way of taking the right decision, but it helps you in knowing your own strengths, knowing your own weaknesses. What more do you need to tap the available opportunities you have? What do you need so that you can nullify or neutralize the threats which you have in your professional life? So SWOT analysis gives us proper insight into any major decision that we are taking in our clinical or professional lives. Sincerely hoping that the talk was not too philosophical and too boring, I conclude. Thank you all.